Hey guys, continuing on with our shelter systems, I thought we would cover a simple tent or A-frame type shelter. This is just a roof that's utilized with an A-frame that allows us some overhead protection, but yet still gives us good airflow if we have it up off the ground, and can really decrease the amount of airflow if we need it close to the ground and we're not going to be utilizing a fire. And we need to capture as much body heat as we can to warm the inside of that shelter. And this, once again, is where this sport utility blanket with that reflective inside can really pay off. This particular shelter is also going to give me an opportunity to show you another knot that we can utilize to secure one end to our trees that we haven't covered in previous videos. So stay with me. I'll position the camera a little bit closer and I'll show you that knot that we use to secure each end of this particular ridge line. Now, as you can see, I found two trees that our tarp will fit in between and gives me a couple of feet, but yet they're not too far away. Let me reposition this camera and we'll get started. Okay, I removed that same piece of paracord from the corner of our tarp that we've used on so many of these different shelters. And I've walked up to this tree a little bit closer so that you can see. And I'm going to tie this today at about the center of my belly height. Now, a very efficient way that you can terminate the end of this line to this tree utilizing most any cordage is simply go around the tree one with just a bite. You're creating a loop here, just a bite of line around the tree, and then as you pass on the other side, just take this cordage and start wrapping around that line. This is a girth hitch. It's utilized by people who do a lot of tree work quite often. It's not a notch, it's not a knot. It is a hitch, and I simply continue to work that line around. There's a textbook formula for whatever kind of line you're using of how many wraps you need to do, but with paracord, since it's slippery, I just go around it a few times, and when you pull that, the line bites down on itself and it will hold very securely, and it's very easy to undo. Now let's go to the other tree and let's tie our other terminating knot. Okay, we've brought our cordage down and we're at our other tree now, and I'm going to simply wrap around this tree, and I'm going to do that at about the same center of my belly height as I did last time, and I'm going to go around this tree and eat up almost all of this cordage, just wrapping it. Now, before I started, I pulled this good and tight, but if you need to, it's real easy to loosen it up, get a couple loops off, and give yourself a good pull and tighten that up. And then just going around the tree, friction is basically holding this on the tree. Now, when I get down, I've got just a foot or so left, as you can see here. Let me move this camera over just a little bit and down. I'm going to come on this side of the line and loop it over, and I'm going to wrap that a couple of times. And then I want to be conscientious about wrapping over top of the entire knot. Okay, so that really bites and locks that in. And then by simply holding the line up, I've created a little loop on the back side. If I reach on the other side and grab this line and pass it through that loop and pull it down, what I've done is created a slippery hitch that will secure this in, and all we're doing is keeping the line from unraveling around the tree. But when we get ready to take it down, we just pull that and everything comes out. So, once again, we go on the back side, we wrap it a couple of times, we make sure that that knot, that this rope, that third loop goes all the way over at the top. We hold it up top, We pull the line on this side, the tail end on this side, and pass it through the loop and let it slide down. Now, if you're really worried about it, you can tie a simple half hitch there and it's not going to go anywhere, but it's not needed. All you're doing is keeping this from unraveling around the tree, and this line is secure. So let's go back now and lay our tarp over this ridge line and do our A-frame. Okay, I think I've got everything where you can see us now. We're going to simply take the tarp and lay it over top of the ridge line. Find that center seam. I'm going to place this one halfway in between the two trees, just so I've got good, plenty of room to get in and out from the trees on each side. You can slip it closer to a tree if you want to block one end in. You can leave it more open if you want the airflow or if you want the room for getting in and out. But with this one raised up higher, we're going to be okay as far as getting in and out. Now for this particular shelter, this is why I keep several other smaller hanks of paracord inside the kit. And we're going to utilize those to stake out the corners. And just by the way, this is why I don't like those department store stakes. They break. You can see the kind here. I'm not sure what the name brand is, but I mean, this one only held up for one class. So we'll pack that out and get it out of here. Somehow we left it during the last class. So now I'm going to go to each corner and I'm going to take a piece of this line and I'm going to tie this out and create my A-frame. Put my cordage in my pocket here. And what I like to do is I just take my line and form me a little loop here by a simple overhand knot. No big deal, nothing high tech. All I've done is create me a loop. And the way I'm going to utilize this loop is I'm going to come down to, you know where I had each one of those loops tied into those eyes? I can bypass those all together and simply place that eye through the eyelet of the tarp and pull that through and let that cinch down. Another thing that I can do, if I don't want it looped on there, I can just place the loop through the eye, put a stick through it, utilizing that toggle, and I can pull that down. When I get ready to remove my cordage, all I have to do is pull that toggle out. So either way you want to go. Very versatile. I'm just going to utilize the grommet and use a simple hitch to pull that through. Now I'm going to do that on each corner, and I'll position the camera at the other end so you can see that loop. Okay, on this side, I'm going to utilize this hank of cordage. I'm going to take this loop, place it through the grommet, take a stick, pass it through the loop, and pull that down, and that toggle will hold that loop into that eye. I'll do the same thing on the other end. Now with our tie out lines all secured to the tarp, it's just a matter of staking it out. Once again, my 4 stakes, I'll start off with this side. These are my short lines. I come out 45-degree angles. I want it a little further forward than I actually, the guy line angling out at a bit of an angle and not straight out. That'll help put a little pressure on it. Once again, I'm just going to use that slippery knot on this stake, and I will put a safety in it. Same thing on the back side. Loop it a couple times. Simple overhand knot. Simply a simple slippery knot with a safety. Now on this side, I'll pull it tight. And my final one on the front. So now we have a nice overhead protection, plenty of room to get in and out, lay down our sleeping system, our trash bags, whatever, or we can create a nice working area by raising or lowering this up higher for a working space, lower it right down to the ground and stake it out to prevent those strong winds from blowing. The only thing you have to remember with this particular system is you want to make sure that your wind in the wintertime is not blowing into one of the ends. But as long as you've got your wind to either side, it's very easy to close off the other end. Because it's so small, you're going to retain a lot of that body heat that we were talking about earlier, and you can close off that other end with some debris. And the front end, that's a great place to set your backpack, and you can block off almost all of the wind in this particular shelter. So, one more option for you. I'm Tim Langston with Red Dog Bushcraft, and until next video, God bless.